Pizza. Almost the entire planet agrees that pizza is universally delicious. However, one simple move, and now you've got an international crisis on your hands. Literally. The legend of Hawaiian pizza starts in the 1960s, specifically 1962. A Greek immigrant named Sam Panopoulos runs a diner in Chatham, Ontario, serving burgers, all-day breakfast, and a full menu of Chinese food. Because it's a Canadian diner, why wouldn't they serve Chinese food? It's a real thing, look it up. Anyways, pizza barely exists in Canada yet. Matter of fact, Sam has to drive an entire hour to Detroit just to taste one. And the story goes he liked pizza enough to try making his own versions. Then one day, in one of the most fateful moments in modern culinary history, he drains a can of pineapple onto the pizza, hits it with some ham, dings the bell, and slides it across the counter. And his customers look at this thing, look back at him, look back at the thing, look back at him, and say, dude, you're a nutcase. What the are you doing? Then they take a bite, then another, and another. And then they finish the entire pizza and order another one. So after Sam realizes that his customers really dig this thing and it gets pretty popular, basically it's a hit. And after a while, Sam finally decides to give it a permanent seat on his menu, but he needs a name. So he looks down at the can of pineapple that he was using in the first place where it reads Hawaiian. Thus, Hawaiian pizza was born. All right, quick honesty break, because this is sort of where I depart from every other video on this topic. Pineapple pizza did technically show up before Sam. A Honolulu newspaper printed a ham and pineapple recipe 4 years earlier. Also, in Germany, their first real TV chef was already famous for putting ham, pineapple, and cheese on toast, so that flavor combo was already in existence. And in 1960, 2 years before Sam's invention, Rocky and Bullwinkle fly past a pineapple pizza that's, painted on a sign in the cartoon.
Looky there.
Poi burgers, pineapple pizza?
Boy, that sounds great.
Nobody really found that newspaper article that linked Sam to the inventor of the Hawaiian pizza until much later in his life. Years down the road. And that's when an anonymous Wikipedia edit sort of handed him the crown, so. And I don't mean to poo-poo on this guy's legacy, because in reality, he almost certainly kind of dreamt this up on his own, right? Unless he loves Rocky and Bullwinkle.
There's always room for one more.
The point is, he wasn't alone in his thinking and his idea. But the better question is not who first invented the Hawaiian pizza. The better question is why a Greek guy in a small town in Canada is making pizza at all, which is going to be very important when we start to make ours here in a bit. Now, Sam is part of one of Earth's great untold food stories. The key takeaway here is basically an enormous amount of pizza in North America is kinda, sorta Greek. Basically, the Second World War wrecks Greece. The Greek Civil War then wrecks it again immediately afterwards. And through the 1950s and 60s, hundreds of thousands of Greeks leave to start over. And more than 100,000 of them landed in Canada. Meanwhile, in the States, the Italians who already built these pizza businesses, years prior, were starting to retire. That was a rhyme. Am I the new American Drake, dude? Am I zesty enough for that? And their kids want proper restaurants instead of pizza counters. So, the arriving Greeks cop the pizzerias, and by the 1970s, 75% of Greek families in Connecticut are in the pizza business. That's not a typo, that's 3 of every 4. But they don't just copy the Italians. No. They rebuild pizza from a bread that they already know. Now, in the early 1950s, Greek immigrant bakers in Connecticut press the dough into shallow oiled pans instead of stretching it out to order. This is a direct nod to their beloved lagana, hope I'm pronouncing that right, which is basically a popular Greek flatbread. As a result, they create yet another offshoot of pan pizza. And if you've been watching the channel for a while now, you know we love pan pizza here. Here in Chicago, where I live, a lot of pan pizza. Side note, and if you don't know what lagana is, it's pretty similar to focaccia, but don't tell any Greeks that I said that, or they'll definitely come for me in my sleep and you'll never see me again.
If you hurt her, I'll kill you and make it look like an accident.
Now, Canadians and Americans might not reference this as Greek pizza, but it's unique because, the edges, they get crisp from that pan. The crumb stays kind of spongy, has a little bit of spring to it. The sauce is rich and cooked down and laden with Greek flavors. And the cheese is sometimes, as we'll get to and discuss later, placed on top of the toppings, which kind of makes them bottom-ings. This pizza is a bit thicker, it's a bit heavier, and up north in Canada, it pays to be thick. Them winters are cold, man. Maybe I should move up there. I don't know. In Canada, it makes the same move with Greek pizzerias opening coast to coast. But here's the wild part. Almost nobody ever wrote this pizza story or the recipes down. The formula hides inside of the Greek-owned pizza joints and sort of in the muscle memory of their cooks. We'll talk about this soon. I think I figured it out. So, how does ham pizza from a Greek diner in Canada conquer the entire planet? A large part of that really is the name itself. Think about it. In the 1940s, American GIs come home from World War II with island stories, right? Probably both beautiful and PTSD inducing. Nonetheless, Hawaii becomes the 50th state in 1959. Elvis then films Blue Hawaii in the 60s, and suddenly everything has flip-flops, Olay, and a tiki torch stuck in it. Mid-century America was in love with sort of the dream of the islands, right? And pineapple was its edible incarnate. Now, calling food Hawaiian just because it features pineapple could be the laziest and most effective marketing move of the century. And the reasoning behind it is really kind of dark. The Dole pineapple empire spent decades selling the pineapple as sort of, the taste of paradise. And its founder actually bought an entire Hawaiian island to grow the fruit, which, by the way, is actually South American. And as it turns out, Dole's cousin was actually the frontman for the American government-sponsored coup that forcefully replaced the Hawaiian queen in 1893. So, yeah. I guess Congress formally apologized for that a century later, which I'm sure made everything right on the island. Long story short, the Dole family, the one that you know from the carton of juice growing up, right? Shout out orange, peach, mango. They committed some, shall we say, questionable deeds. The paradise on the can's label was shaped by marketing and American imperialism. But yeah. So the Hawaiian pizza itself travels in 3 waves. First, of course, as we talked about, it crawls across Canada through the 60s and 70s by Greek-owned businesses until it's simply sort of a default topping combination that every pizzeria carries. Then second, the delivery chains industrialize it during the franchise boom of the 70s and 80s, which globalizes pizza menus across the world into sort of a standard lineup, and the Hawaiian was a part of that. But here's the detail that I love. When Domino's finally went international in the 1980s, its first foreign store ever was in Winnipeg, Canada. And its first store outside of North America was in Queensland, Australia, 2 of the great capitals where Hawaiian pizza enjoyers reside. So the empire of pizza delivery expanded along the exact map of pineapple tolerance, and some countries were sort of pre-sold before the boxes even arrived. Germany, again, already loved ham and pineapple because of their most famous TV chef. Then Sweden adopted the Hawaiian pizza and somehow made it weirder, which is insane. They add curry powder to it and the occasional banana. As mentioned, in Australia, they were all in because Queensland grows pineapples, and really, Australians already put canned pineapple on their burgers. Look it up. Probably not that bad. That said, by the 90s, the Hawaiian was the most popular pizza down under. Then in 2014, Time magazine named it the most influential pizza of all time. What a come up. Though Hawaiian pizza has enjoyed its fair share of good PR globally, some people can't wait to bash it and tell you why it sucks and tell you why you suck for liking it. So what's actually going on in our brains to make us hate it or love it? This video was sponsored by Cometeer. Anytime somebody tells me about coffee that's instant, my assumption is that the flavor took a hit somewhere along the way. That's usually the trade-off. You get something that's faster and easier, but it tastes much flatter than a fresh cup. And that is not the case with Cometeer. I took 1 sip of this stuff and I was completely blown away by how rich and flavorful each of these cups of coffee are. And that's because the coffee is precision brewed at 10 times normal strength, then flash frozen almost instantly, which kind of locks in peak flavor before it has a chance to oxidize and go dull on you. And it's not just generic coffee going into that process. These beans are sourced from some of the world's best coffee roasters. I'm talking Onyx, Intelligentsia, Counterculture, all the big dogs. Hot coffee, iced coffee, something espresso style, in seconds, with literally no machine required. It ships to your door, frozen on dry ice in these tiny little cute aluminum recyclable capsules. And the only thing you gotta do is melt it down. You just peel the lid off and you can see it's a solid frozen puck of real coffee in there. And you're not putting water through a plastic machine either. Remember, recyclable. For a hot cup, you drop the puck, pour the water in, it melts super quick, and it tastes like a freshly brewed cup of coffee that you would get at any self-respecting coffee shop. Because that's exactly what it is. But iced drinks and iced lattes in particular are where I really think this shows off. Milk and ice go in first, then just drizzle the coffee over on top. You get this sort of incredible psychedelic cloudy swirl as the coffee falls through. Then just stir everything together. Iced coffee is the same move, you're just gonna replace the milk with the water. When you try this, be sure to pick up the Onyx Southern Weather. It's gotta be my favorite of the bunch. Each Cometeer capsule has about double the caffeine of a standard cup of joe, but it's much smoother and it's a cleaner lift without sort of that spike and that crash that I get from most coffee that strong. But if you're a little sensy and prefer something a little lighter, that's totally fine too. You can just add more water, you know? The choice is yours. This is your adventure, really. It just hits. It really does feel like somebody just like kind of made me a pour over and I literally didn't do anything. It almost feels like stolen valor. And you can snag 20 bucks off your first order by going to cometeer.com/AdamWitt. The link is in the description. I also pinned it in the comments, or you can go ahead and scan the QR code on the screen right meow. Okay, we're locked. Back to the video. Taste is subjective, so this is tricky, you know, but both sides really do kind of make sense to me. I hate to be the guy, but they both kind of make sense. Hawaiian pizza enjoyers stand on business because, you know, that salty, sweet, savory, it's one of the most reliable flavor combinations for our brains to really enjoy. It's the same logic behind why so many of us love American or Canadian, like Chinese food. It's unironically also on Sam's menu. When you think about it, flavor-wise, the acid in the pineapple cuts through the fat of the cheese, which allows you to better taste the salty ham. Texturally, the juicy pop of the pineapple against the crust and the crispy bacon, you know, that's top tier engineering. However, the haters also have a point because canned pineapple is basically a water balloon. When someone says the pineapple ruined the pizza, I would be willing to bet that they're thinking about the moisture. The oven squeezes the juice out of the fruit and it sort of like scatters across the pizza. The sugar just sort of bulldozes everything and the crust kind of sogs out in that syrup. I don't know. And the intensity of this kind of argument might not even be your fault, right? Because scientists keep finding new genes that change the way people taste food, which means that your loudest friend's take on this might actually partially be genetically pre-installed, or they're just a freak. Even the celebrities are split cleanly here. Big Papa Baby Boy chef Gordy Ramsay has declared that pineapple has no business anywhere near a pizza, right? People tend to listen to that guy for whatever reason. Then meanwhile, The Rock, who is literally from Hawaii, mind you, has publicly blessed it. And my rig is not diced enough to tell that man he's wrong because he could probably pin me just, you know, with a single wink. Imagine that, dude, just like, Really, for the past 50 years, the Hawaiian pizza debate has been this sort of internal food debate amongst pizza enjoyers, pizza nerds. But then in 2017, the government got involved. The story goes, the president of Iceland was visiting a high school when a student asked him about pizza toppings. Hard-hitting journalism, I honestly respect it. He answered his question with a joke that he would ban pineapple on pizza if he had the power to. Within days, his quote is running in the news outlets all over the world. Celebrities are issuing formal position statements to the press, and a frozen pizza brand is publicly dunking on a sitting head of state. Now, remember, this is a Canadian invention, so our brothers up to the north take personal offense to this and flood the internet in defense. Canada's Prime Minister backs the Hawaiian pie by tweeting a photo declaring that he stands behind, quote, this delicious southwestern Ontario creation. Very diplomatic. Then in London, people begin mailing Hawaiian pizzas to the Icelandic embassy. The embassy posts a photo of the stack where one of the boxes of the pizzas reads, long live pineapple pizza. And basically the pressure gets so absurd that the president of Iceland releases an official written statement in 2 languages clarifying that he does not have the power to ban pizza toppings and that he wouldn't want to live in a country where he did. The guy's a natural, he's got some talent. Soon after this, reporters track down Sam, now in his 80s, to hear the story of the Hawaiian pizza from the man who invented it. Sadly, Sam passes a few months later, defending his pizza to the very end. And the man was so passionate about this that his birthday is now International Hawaiian Pizza Day. Very sweet. Pun intended. The part that gets me is liking or disliking Hawaiian pizza really has become culture. For some reason, out of all of the pizza on earth, this is the one that people choose to die on the hill for. It's a personality badge. It's the kind of thing that people put in dating profiles and defend at house parties. A pizza supposedly invented by a Greek dude in Canada in a Canadian diner became a global argument about taste and tradition and what food is allowed to be. Speaking of which, I gotta keep it real with you. I'm no yum yucker, but if you're asking me, I'm not a fan of Hawaiian pizza. All of the Hawaiian pizzas that I've had in my day, they just lean too sweet, they're maybe too sloppy. Really, it's just not what I crave on pizza night. I'm getting pretty much any other flavor except for that one. And when somebody asks for it or half of one, instead of being like democratic, I just think it's a waste of food. That's a me problem. But I can see a world where, if done properly, the Hawaiian pizza could be tasty. So my goal today is to create a version of Hawaiian pizza that can convert the haters, including myself. And we're gonna do that by making it the best way possible. What I mean by that is, the dough is gonna be made super flavorful. We're gonna do the sauce right. We're gonna choose the right toppings. We shan't hold back. We're gonna whip out all the stops today, so let's get wild. Is this appropriation? I have family in Hawaii that literally were born and grew up in Hawaii. Does that make me immune? I don't know. You tell me. Okay, so we got our ingredients here. We're gonna make the dough, the sauce. We'll talk all about toppings. But real quick, I just wanted to mention, what we're doing here today is a little different, right? A unique pizza calls for a unique pizza style. We've made a lot of pizza on the channel over the years. The New York styles, Chicago, we did New Haven, Detroit even. We're gonna pull lessons learned from all of those videos and the years of pizza making. So we're gonna go for something that you might find at a Greek-owned pizzeria in Canada to kind of pay homage to Sam, the legend behind it. I think it's gonna be tasty and delicious. Okay, let's start with the dough. Now, we're going for sort of a medium thick pizza with kind of a closed crumb structure, which means that this dough I designed to have a lower percentage or a mid-lower percentage hydration. So we're sitting at about a 60% hydration percentage here, which should give us around what we need to get that sort of Greek pizza. In the stand mixer bowl, which can also be a regular bowl if you don't have a stand mixer. Gonna go in with our water, olive oil, sugar, yeast, and flour. Just gonna mix this into a shaggy dough until it comes together. As soon as the flour seems to be all encompassed by the water like this, now we're gonna cover that up and let it rest. And I like to keep the salt on top because we haven't added that in yet. We're gonna do that here in a second. Before we move on, I just wanted to address that when I was thinking about this dough, I wanted to make it as simple as possible. That means no pre-ferments, no poolish, no biga. This is a straight dough, meaning it's just the ingredients we added in. That's it. This dough is gonna get its flavor from taking advantage of daddy time. That time is going to allow the dough to ferment, kind of funkify, kind of get tangy. I like to do this, 2 days in advance, but really, 1 day is fine. Now we can add in our kosher salt, and it's on the stand mixer with the dough hook. And we're gonna let this rip on speed 2 until it passes the window test. All right, so this is the window pane test. You can spread your dough and you can see light through it. Passes the test there. Cha-ching. For this amount of dough, we'll divide it in half. You can do this by scale if you want. I'm just gonna shape it, frisbeeify it, so you have a wonderful, cutesy little dough ball. It's not really important that we get the most gluten out of these dough balls at this stage yet, because they will continue to develop gluten. Woo, tangy. Ta-da! Looks like they're perf. Okay, so this sauce is very unique. Kind of similarly to Chicago, this is sort of more of a richer cooked down sauce. And when we make our pizza, we're gonna use plenty of it. So in New York or Italy, you might see an uncooked, fresh sauce with basil, a little bit of salt, maybe some garlic. In Italy, it's even more bare bones. Here today, it's just gonna be a richer, more robusto, cooked down sauce with tomato paste. So it's kind of got that super rich, jammy, slightly sweet flavor. It's gonna have plenty of oregano. Greeks love oregano, so does your boy. I'll stop talking. This comes together pretty quickly. Medium heat, saucier pot pan. I'm gonna go in with a bit of olive oil here. Both Italians and Greeks love this stuff. Might as well just. Then we're gonna go in with grated onion. Juice and all, baby. I'm also going to add my minced garlic to that as well. A little pinch of kosher to help work that water out. So we're just gonna cook out the water of this onion a little bit, kind of sweat it down a bit. We're not going for any crazy caramelization here, right? Just a little schwitz. Concentrate them flavors. All right, once that quiets down a lot, that means most of the water has been cooked off. So we are going to scaloop in our tomato paste. This is gonna add a richness, a sweetness, a dark color. It's very important that we toast this to increase said color and flavor. Tiny little pinch of salt, season as you go. I can't help but to make the connection here of a Chicagoland, more cooked Robusto sauce. I'm gonna toast that off for a couple of minutes here. On top of that toasted tomato paste, we're gonna go in with tomato puree and crushed tomatoes. This is a texture play. By adding both puree and crushed tomatoes on top of our delicious paste and garlic and onion base, we're gonna add some good texture to this too. Look at that, chunky, chunky, chunky. And to finish, we'll go with plenty of dried oregano, like more than you think. A big healthy pinch of kosher salt, same idea with the sugar, and a bunch of cracked BP. We're just gonna mix that in. And once this is all mixed, I'm gonna give it a taste. I'm gonna see how I like it. This is going to be a thick, chunky, semi-cooked sauce. You don't gotta simmer this all day like Nona's bolognese or whatever, but 20, 30 minutes on the hob, that should do the trick. I wasn't gonna do it, but I gotta do it. We are going to add a little dash of the GP, MSG, the God particle. Not optional. Look at that, man. This sauce is thick enough to make a Nona from Napoli faint. These are our toppings, and remember, we're trying to make this the best Hawaiian pizza possible, so I made a couple of tweaks here. We might be a little extra today. For the cheese, we got both whole milk and part skim mozzarella. Whole milk for the fat content and the flavor, part skim for that texture, that kind of stretchy, arcadey, Chuck E. Cheese's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle texture. We love that. 2, instead of the can, we're subbing for the real deal. Turn it upside down, and now it's a party. Just kidding, I'm a married man. Very happy. Then we got 2 pork products here. For our pork products, we have regular good old ham, like you would maybe see on literally any Hawaiian pizza here. And then this, bacon. Hawaiian pizzas have some sort of pork product on it. Sometimes it's ham, sometimes it's bacon. We're gonna go with both ham and bacon today. And again, I got this big chunk of double smoked pork belly here, which is bacon, cured and smoked pork belly. We can make really nice lardones that are gonna crisp up and render and be a great topping to add even more texture to each bite. Then, because I think savory and sweet needs a bit of a kick, pickled jalapenos. And then to finish, we're gonna hit it with some Parmigiano Reggiano to make it real special. And a nod to the fact that though this is a Greek Hawaiian Canadian pizza, really pizza is Italian. This is double smoked pork belly, bacon, meaning it's cured and smoked, and it's got the skin on, most importantly. I want these kind of big and robust, because remember, as they render, they're gonna lose most of their moisture and size. This is a perfect lardon. It's a perfect, nice, beefy, busty ribbon that's gonna shrink and cook down as it releases its moisture and that fat renders. It's got a little of the skin on there still, so that's gonna get extra crispy. Still some nice meat on here. This is a specimen. All right, we're gonna go low, medium heat with a cold cast iron pan, okay? Into this pan, we're gonna add our lardon. Spread it around real nice like. I am going to add a pinch of salt in this, not too much. And we are just going to let these render, which means we're gonna leach that fat out. It's gonna go real crispy, it's gonna shrink in size, and it's gonna go as these little tiny little crunchy, crusty, cruppy bacon lardons, right, for our pizza. Cruppy, new word. Woo. And remember with these lardon here, they are going to cook more on top of our pizza. That said, I'm still gonna take these to a pretty crispy place. The crispiest place you could arguably take anything. Comment the name of that realm below. Almost there. All right, these are looking Gucci. And your lardies should be looking something like this. We're just gonna drain these off, make sure there's not like a ton of grease on this thing, and yeah, take it from there. Look at this thing. This thing is worthy of SpongeBob. Get you a pineapple that looks like this. Oh my God, it smells so sweet. Oh, 2 for 2. Oh, money in the bank. So on our continued mission to maximize flavor here, we're gonna do something interesting to these here pineapples. Compressing certain fruits concentrates their moisture in the center of the fruit. It makes them go kind of translucent and beautiful looking, and again, concentrates kind of that fruit juice into one space. So my thought is, if we do that, these will be kind of like hypercharged, flavorful pineapples. Let's suck them down. You can see how much more darker yellow they went. They almost look like a pickled Korean radish. So do you have to do this? Absolutely not, right? This is a total extracurricular. These things are a lot more saturated looking. All right, so here we have the vacuum sealed pineapple and the non-vacuum sealed pineapple. So you can definitely see the difference there. It's taken all my power not to physically. We saved these for the pizza, yes? Looks like a gem. So we have the core in the middle. I'm just gonna slice it out like this. It's super soft, very juice logged. An important piece of this puzzle is the pan, right? This is pan pizza after all. So here I have a 12-inch deep Lloyd pan. This is, used for Chicago deep dish or stuff, pizza in the pan, that type of thing. It's gonna work for this as well. We're not gonna use these side walls. The pizza's not gonna climb all the way up the side. It's a bit of a shallower pizza. I'll leave a link below if you wanna pick up a great pizza pan like this. It's so versatile. You can do bread in here, other stuff as well. They got them in all shapes and sizes. Cast iron works too, if that's what you got around. To coat this, in all of the pan pizza experience I have, this style of dough is gonna play best with these two things here to kind of make sure that we have a nice crispy, crusty exterior, right? Like undercarriage. We got some Crisco and we got some ghee. This is for texture and lightness and crispiness. This is for flavor. This is always kind of a fun part. So it should look something like this. You should be able to see your face in the mirror. There you are. Nice and lubed up, ready to go, nothing too crazy. This means we're ready to build our pizza. I'm just gonna press this dough into the pan, and I kind of like to give it a flip ski, kind of get it covered in this fat here. And once we're pressed out to the sides, this is when I like to let it proof. And now, usually, yes, you let pizza proof kind of no matter what, but for this specific style, I'm not gonna let it proof that much because I don't want it to raise and get too fluffy. I kind of want it to be kind of dense almost, like robust pizza. That's kind of what we're going for here. So I'm just pushing it into the corners here to kind of try to create that crust. Something like this in the pan. We're gonna wait for this to proof, 20 to 40 minutes, something like that. Just kind of watch it, and we'll take it from there. All right, prove it. Nice, peep that. That's what we're looking for, baby. Slight fluff, nothing crazy, a little crust edge. It's TTB. Okay, we got all of our ingredients prepped and ready to go. Our dough is proofed. It is finally TTB. Time to build. One of the reasons I love this recipe is because not only is the straight dough super easy, this pizza is super beginner friendly. You're not launching the pizza, which means you don't have to shape or build your pizza on the peel. You're not racing against the clock to get that thing off into the oven and launch it and, potentially ruin all your hard work at the very last second when you're trying to, do the thing. And we're not even par baking this crust here. All we gotta do is put our stuff on. First things first, sauce down. And I'm not gonna skimp on the sauce here. According to my buddies who live in Canada, this style of pizza is quite saucy. And I am gonna leave a slight edge, a slight pizza bone, if you will, here, kind of like New York style, Give something to grip so it looks kind of like the classic pies over there. All right, that's plenty saucy, baby. We're gonna go on with some whole milk mozz, part skim mozz. Another telltale sign of this style is to add plenty of cheese. Then we got pig 1, aka our ham cubes, followed by pig 2, aka the bacon lardon, and of course our beautiful pineapple jewels. This is not a low-key pizza, totally optional, but I'm a big spice guy on my pizza. Good old pickled jalapenos, nacho style. A light kiss of Parmigiano Reggiano from the restaurant grater. Tada! Look at that thing. My mouth's kind of watering. Hoo-wee. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, looking pretty. Let's cut into it. Like the sound of that. Whoa. Nice. Look at that. So this is pretty much exactly what we were going for. Wow, this worked out great. You have the crust that's kind of almost a similar thickness throughout here, a nice closed crumb. We have some air bubbles from the fermentation, right? The cheese is nice and kind of like, blistered and leoparded. We have our ham, which took on some color. Our pineapples don't seem to be leaching too much moisture. The sauce is super jammy and red. And let's see the undercarriage. Nice undercarriage. It's not just a soggy, soppy mess. I'm pretty stoked on this without trying it yet. We got some flop to it. All right, salud. Moment of truth. Nice. Okay, just off the bat, this thing is fully loaded with toppings. Let me just hit this one more time. I'm gonna lose a lot of you here, I think, but this reminds me of like ski lodge pizza. Somewhere in between homemade and like commercially bought from Cisco. We made all of these elements from scratch. That's not the point here. The quality is good. It's rich and there's so much cheese, and that cheese is low moisture mozzarella, so it has that Chuck E. Cheese kind of like, leoparding going on with the sweetness from the pineapple. I feel like I should take a bite of this and like ska should play. Like, the taste of somebody listening to ska for the first time. I might be cream of unk, the final form of unk, for saying that. This is delicious. There's really not much else to say. Did I achieve the goal? Do I like pineapple ham pizza, Hawaiian pizza? I'm probably gonna have to say yes with an asterisk. Is it my preferred pizza? Did I make any life changes to myself and my stance on Hawaiian pizza? Yes and no. Right now, in this moment, after this work, this is pretty good. Hawaiian pizza. So which side are you on? Do you like Hawaiian pizza? Are you like me and you don't like it, but you're down to try this? I don't know, man. This might change your mind. Oh, stop eating this. Thanks for watching, guys. Like the video if you liked it. Sub to the channel if you're new to the channel. The best way to support the channel is by copping some merch over on adamwitt.store or supporting the grocery fund, aka the Patreon. That is all I got for you this time. So until next we meet. Ciao. Take care now. Italian Canadian.